Oh no, the deja vu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everycub, and welcome to a study stream. If you were joining me previous for the Cult to the Lamb playthrough, thank you for joining me. I honestly do appreciate it. Again, I apologize that the timing for all that was much lower than expected, but hey, it is what it is. We are back with more stream. Thank you for choosing studying on stream, because goodness knows I would not do this by myself. I would procrastinate. I've been looking at the study guide. So this class Biomechanics has like 5 different PowerPoints, and I've been looking at the same one for multiple hours yesterday, and I just did not get through it. It's only 21 slides, and I'm like, not because it's super boring or anything, it's just my brain sometimes kind of wait, before we begin though, my cat is underneath the computer. He's down there. Stop being cute. Get out! Get out! I don't want you to accidentally go on my computer and turn it off. Stop cleaning your paws. Come here, baby. Come here. Get out. Hold on. I have to go down under. Hold on. Alright, baby peas, caught. Dice. Anyway, so we'll try to get through as much as we can with biomechanics. I can't promise that we will, because it is a lot, but thankfully a lot of them look like images, at least for the beginning slides. Everything else? We'll see. I also have my notes on the side right here, so I might have to stop and actually take notes, so please excuse any typing. I'll try to mute myself. But yeah, with that, let's get started, okay? Alright, so like I said, there's going to be 5 parts for this biomechanics course that we're going to try to go over. The first one is going to be about connective tissue mechanics, so we're going to actually just explain in this part 1 basic principles of connective tissue and how we can handle load and etc. You cubs may be familiar with spraining, so a certain cub had messaged me and they're like, yeah, I sprained my ankle tip, and I'm like, you did what? And so we're going to kind of learn why does something sprain, even without going too into it, like too in thought to it. It's your body wasn't able to handle the stress or load that you were having, and then you kind of basically broke under pressure. Unfortunately, that's kind of life, because our bodies are not really made to be superhuman as much as we want them to be. Accidents do happen, or not accidents also happen, I guess, too. But that's why we have to take care of ourselves. But let's kind of look more and see how does this happen. So like the previous biomechanics study, a study stream we had, there's actually little notes underneath, so I'll try to read them as well. So connective tissue mechanics. The responses to external forces applied to bones, cartilage, ligaments, muscles, or tendons vary depending on their structural makeup and the different parameters of loading on these tissues. When an individual tears their meniscus, so meniscus is going to be that kind of like, especially the in between like your knee, like in that knee you have like meniscus in there, or sprains their ankle, the individual tissue was unable to withstand the external loads put onto it. Anytime we talk about external loads, we're talking about force. So hey, if you sprain your ankle, you weren't able to handle like the force of your body when you like twisted it. So how can a ligament or tendon stretch before it ruptures are questions that can be answered by understanding the material properties of the tissues themselves. In the last unit, internal forces within the body were ignored as we discussed how external forces create linear and rotational movement of the body. This unit begins to explore material properties of the major connective tissues within the musculoskeletal and peripheral nervous systems referred to as stress and strain. So in my world, we need to understand the relationships between the structure of connective tissues and their mechanical performance. So pretty much it's really important to know this, because our job my job soon will be to protect, restore, and improve the properties of these structures, such as like ligaments, bones, tendons, and muscles in patients. Bam. So basically, let's kind of go more into it. So what affects the deformative behavior, and what is the ultimate strength of materials? So there's different things that can deform you. So it's kind of the mode of loading, and again, loading is also going to be another word for force, or the force, or the external force that we'll see. They're interchangeable. So we're going to kind of have a compressive force, tensile force, and shearing, and we can kind of think of it in different ways, like an architect, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to read the description and hope for the best. Oh wait, this is showing kind of weird. One moment. So I didn't realize it was like super cutting off. Boo, super cutting off. Boo. Wait, where the heck is my thing? Oh, I found it. Da 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 da. Hey, beautiful. So, when designing a building or a bridge, there are perhaps 3 intrinsic considerations that are key to the success of these structures to withstand the external forces that they'll be subject to. The first consideration is the type or the mode of loading that they have to deal with. In mechanical terms, loads are another name for external forces. So, I said that. I said it. I told you I read this. Hi, potatoes. Hi, welcome. Anatomy looking different tonight? It is. It's biomechanics, so kind of anatomy, but not like, hey, what is this leg muscle? It's how does this leg muscle and the ligaments at the ankle handle the stress? But welcome. It's actually biomechanics so far, or at least in the last unit, were really heavily based on physics, which kind of sucks. They were like, hey, these vectors, and I'm like, get these vectors out of here. Vectors are okay to understand, but I really didn't want physics to like pop up back in my life anytime soon. Not this soon, at least. Anyway, In mechanical terms, loads are another name for external forces. The second is the shapes and sizes of each of these components that make up the structure. And the third consideration is what the components are composed of. We'll see that these three concepts are relevant to the connective tissues of the musculoskeletal system. So let's think about it in an IRL example. So a 78-year-old woman patient, yeah, that's very human sounding, with osteoporosis has sustained a compression fracture in her thoracic vertebra. So compression, I know we haven't talked about it quite yet. It is one of our modes of loading, but compression is what you think it is. Compression, or kind of squeezing something. Like if you have like a Oreo and the cookie side, the frosting side, and the cookie side, and for whatever reason you have that Oreo in the palm of your hand, you do a little clap and you're pushing one cookie and the other cookie together and squeezing out the frosting in between. You're doing a compressive force. So this person has osteoporosis, so that means that their bones are weakened and they're having compression fracture. So you know our spine is composed of multiple vertebrae, and so each segment is kind of squeezing in, and you know in between we have these discs to help with how do you call it, motion. That there's basically there's a better word. I guess motion. Like it's there's a more anatomical word for that, but I hope it just helps cushion you when you move, basically. So they sustained a compression fracture in her thoracic vertebra. So thoracic is referring to like the rib cage area, or that rib cage area spine. Anyway, to understand why it occurred, we have to think of bone as a material that will have a specific architecture, be composed of certain materials, and will be subject to different types of loads. So basically that's going to be our little summary, and then hopefully we run with that theme throughout this PowerPoint. My little bro asked me a physics question. He needed help and I just stood there. I would just stand there too. I would also be like, huh? Brain not working? Your cookies are built different? Rib cage? I heard that. I don't know how else to explain the thoracic region. Someone's gonna be like, what? Thoracic? And I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know where your rib cage are? And I'll follow your rib cage towards the back. And that segment of your spine is gonna be considered your thoracic vertebra for the most part. Anything below your anything below the big bump in the back of your neck to about I actually don't know the landmark for T12. It's gonna be that. No, it's not architecture. Anyway, what do you want? What do you want? Potatoes, what's happening? Okay, so the biological connective tissues involving bone, cartilage, muscle, nerve, ligament, tendon, menisci, or intervertebral disc are all subject to external forces. Forces applied in a specific direction in respect to a given surface are named with specialized designations. So as we see here in the picture, we have our shearing load. Oh, my mouse. No, it's not zoomed in again. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Better? I guess. I don't know why they keep resizing though. Such a pain. Anyway. So we have our shearing force, our compression load, and tensile loads. All of these are going to be affecting the biological connective tissue, which again we're going to consider again, which is going to be our long list of bone, cartilage, muscle, nerve, ligament, tendon, menisci, vertebral disc. So here, let's define finally what shearing, compression, and tensile. So for compression load is going to be forces that are going to be applied perpendicular towards a particular connective tissue surface, and again that's going to be labeled as the compressive load. For tensile loads, it's going to be perpendicular away. So think like a tug of war sort of thing. You have a thing, or you want to think of the Oreo cookie example. And then anything that's not the frosting, so you have the left cookie part, the right cookie part, and then you have the frosting because you have your little Oreo, and you pull it away. That you're going to be creating a tensile force. And then we have a shearing, so this is going to be kind of interesting. So shearing is a force that is applied parallel to a particular connective tissue surface. So if you kind of make your hands into a fist and you stack one on top of the other, if you slide them over, like if you slide the top one either left, right, forward, back, etc., what's going to happen is that you're creating a shearing load. And that's what can happen in these biological connective tissues. So, Thoracic, yes. That other dinosaur period. My brain is derping. I'm sorry, Sunny. It's okay. It's okay. I got you now. Kind of. But yeah, no, potatoes. Focus on one thing. Literally mute me. Or like tab away. if you're studying something, go study. Because I don't think we're studying the same thing. And then there might be like overlap. But yeah. So, here are some material properties of the human connective tissues. One of the key things that we need to understand is that tissue behavior is highly dependent upon the tissue's molecular composition and structure. So that was one of the things we were talking about when we're using the architect example. It's like, yeah, cool, we know all the loads and all the things we have to consider with these structures, but what are these things actually made out of? So let's read the description. We will observe that all the connective tissues, how they will behave, will ultimately be dependent upon the basic structure, molecular composition, and the mode of loading. So consider for a moment the failures of bones in these two radiographs of a young child on the left, and an older adult on the right. What type of loads would cause these? And it's telling me to draw a vector. Get out of here. So let's think about it. So this one is your humerus. Your humerus is going to be your arm bone. This is your elbow. And then you have your two bones right here for the forearm. You have your ulna, which is going to be towards your pinky side. And your radius, which is going towards your thumb side. So what's going to happen here is that this will be most likely identified as a shearing force. Remember, shearing again was going to be when a force that's applied parallel. So, you know, you put your two hands again into a fist, you stack those bad boys up, and then you slide them. And so that's what's happening with the humerus. This humerus, God knows how it broke, but it definitely looks like it sheared off. As for the this one over here for the adult spine, normally the spine goes through a lot of compressive forces, so I want to say, hey, that's the example. Because you see how this is angled, but this, sorry. But this is still so weird. Again, I'm not really good at reading radiographs. I have not had a class on it yet. But they're like, no, this. It's like, yep, that doesn't look normal. That's it. Alright. Would a change in the molecular makeup of the bone as a material make a difference? It would be simple to state that the bone was simply not strong enough to withstand these loads. But what does it mean to be strong? Oh, my biomechanics class is getting deep. What does it mean to be strong? We need to be able to specifically define the concept of strength of a material.
I've been waiting for this.
National Pepperoni Pizza Day raid! Let's go! I don't like pepperoni. But thank you so very much for the raid. Welcome. Welcome, raiders. My name is Tipanya. I'm a Bearcat Vtuber. I do the gal nya nya. And it's very nice to meet you. Earlier we were playing Cult to the Lamb, but right now we're studying some biomechanics, so heck. I'm sorry this was like your first way of being introduced to me. This is your first time, but welcome. Oh no, I'm sorry, I don't know. The taste of it's kind of, it just doesn't hit for me. It's very unfortunate. I grew up with a taste palette of a child, but that kind of makes sense because I was a child. I am now a forever 17 adult. I still don't like pepperoni. I'm a cheese kind of gal, or a chicken and spinach and garlic parmesan sauce kind of gal. But yeah, thank you. How's Splatoon 3? Ashley just recently got into it, so now I feel like peer pressured indirectly. I actually never played any of the Splatoon series either, so I don't know if I should even go for 3, but 3 is the newest and most updated game, so I'm kind of like, Either way, if I do get Splatoon 3, I hope we can play. That's basically me trying to shimmy in and being like, teach me! If you want someone to mentor. I play Fortnite. That's good enough. That's like the practice that you need for Splatoon, right? Anyway, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But Hamplo Cole and then she hi, welcome. Hamplo says we had to convince Wolfie to not do an NFT appreciation day. Wolfie, I will look at you a little bit like, huh? What is that oh my gosh, the rock vine boom expression. That's how I look at you. Already unsubbing? No, Dominic! No, Sunny, don't ham smash me! But what's good? I just finished the story mode today. Let's go! I'm not sure if you're familiar with Selic, Simply Selic. I know he was telling me, he's like, I hate the story mode. I'm like, wait, is it really that bad? I actually still don't even know the story of Splatoon. I just know there's cute girls and idols, and I'm like, oh, heck yeah. And you're a squid, you're a kid. You're a squid, you're a kid. That's all I know. So hopefully I'll be able to, what do you call it? Be more cultured soon if I do invest into it. Hopefully I get to invest soon. I'm so scared. I'm so scared if I do invest into it, I'll get really addicted to it, and then my schoolwork will suffer. I have no self-control as a Bearcat. I remember when I got into my Minecraft addiction. I remember I was trying to do class and I just drew a doodle of myself wearing a shirt of like, I'd rather be playing Minecraft. I was that in the deep, you know? There are some hard levels? Oh, it's okay, I'm a gamer. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, I've seen people play Splatoon 3 for like the first time, and they're like, wow, this is really hard to aim. And I'm like, oh god. Scared. But no worries, no worries. I'll keep you updated. I'll be like, hey, friend call. Now I'm inserting myself. I'm like, we're friends now. I hope here, take my phone call. Let's play Splatoon. I think it's for people Mechs, right? Heck, okay, I'll train a little bit better, and then I'll be like, hey, you want to play? Anyway, yeah. So biomechanics, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to see if I can go draw my class lectures and all that. So please forgive me. They're kind of dry, but it's kind of like, oh look, broken bone. How not to sprain stuff, or why do we sprain things and break things? Wow. Why aren't we superhuman? Cheer? Let's go! I wish I could cheer. Hold on. I can. Hold on. Anyway. So let's see. As we'll see, materials have different strengths, not only because one material is bigger than the other, but also that they have different strengths depending on their shape and composition. True. So even on this like very general thing, we could say that, you know, our arm is not that strong in consideration to our whole entire hacking spine. Definitely with the composition of this is going to be a thicker boy to like basically try to like break, while you hear about someone breaking their arm all the hacking time. So this is where we get really technical. So again, like I said, a lot of these PowerPoints are going to be definitions, so let's actually define stress. So yes, I know we go through stress daily and all that stuff, but what is stress in consideration to human tissue? So stress is going to be the internal reaction or the resistance of a tissue to an applied force. Basically, in layman's terms, it's going to be the property of a material to resist deformation. So if we press something and it's able to regain its shape, so what is a good thing? You know those like squishy, really, I want to call them interactive, there's a better word for that. Like the things that can squish, but as much as you squeeze them, as hard as you squeeze them, they get like back together. There was a TikTok I was watching the other day, and it actually made me a little sad, but it was like this like rubber monkey that someone had like on a rope over like all these staircases, and it was just like a opening in the middle, and they're just like comically or cartoonishly like cutting the strings off this monkey with scissors, and the monkey falls. This is a toy monkey, like the rubber monkey, and it falls and it makes the loudest plop sound you've ever heard. But then it went back to shape, even though it fell multiple stories or floors, both. It was still able to regain its shape. It has a I guess a high level of resistance, a high level of stress. Would you say it like that? I would also be stressed if I was also tossed over multiple levels, but that's besides the point. Anyway, let's continue to read from this description. So to create a definition of material strength, we need to understand the concept of stress and strain. So we just talked about stress. Stress is perhaps the most difficult concept to grasp thoroughly. We know the word stress, but basically students have a difficult time defining it. When a force interacts with a body, a deformation in the direction the force occurs in that body. Compressive force... Oh, okay. Excuse me. So now we're going to talk about the different forces again. So the compressive force, which again is going to be one of the ways we can load onto the body, it's going to shorten the body. Again, think of that squeezing, like we're used to the compression. Just squeeze, and that's how it shortens. Let me not skip, let me actually read it. So the magnitude of the deformities of the body internally change the relative positions of the molecules and atoms within the body. So on a very molecular level, yeah, you are squishing that thing, but think about more inside. Yes, you're actually changing the positions of the molecules and atoms. As you can see also in here, we have this. On the right, this is our beautiful thing, but let's see if we apply a compressive load. So we're squeezing on both sides. Bottom, top, squeeze! Oh no, look, you're changing the locations of everything. How could you? Anyway, so these changes are going to happen, are going to create internal rejections and attractions of the atom molecules within that body, and that they're going to react to that force. So pretty much they asked to remember Newton's third law of motion, but I can't actually remember that at the moment. What is his third law? Third law of motion. Newton! So cursed. Oh! Heck. Newton's third law simply states for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, so whoops. Anyway, so that's going to be applied here. Thus, the external force creating a deformation in the body is going to give rise to an internal resistance within the body. So again, that equal and opposite reaction. The internal resistance of this body, again, is going to be termed as stress. The internal rejections and attractions, and hence the resistance to deformity, are related to the area of the force on the body. Stress is therefore standardized or normalized to be the magnitude of the area, and therefore it has the same units as pressure. And you may be familiar with pressure from maybe like your biology, your chemistry, or a physics course, where pressure is going to be force divided by area. We could talk about tensile forces. So tensile forces on a tendon, remember tensile is going to be that tug of war. You grab one side, I grab the other, whatever's in the middle, good luck to that hacker. And you pull it apart. That's the tensile force. So that on a tendon, which tendon is going to be muscle to bone, and the act of stretching a tendon is going to give rise to internal tensile stress within the tendon itself. Compressive forces on a tendon are going to cause internal compressive stress, and shearing force on a tendon is going to give rise to shearing stress within the tendon. Luckily, they're already like self-explanatory within the name sort of thing. Oops. Physics? I know, kind of stinky. Alright, let me sip some water really quick. Hold on. I'm dehydrated. I'm so behind on my water bottle. I'm at 1 p.m. I have the big water bottles that have the time, and I'm at 1 p.m. I'm like 7 hours behind. But I went to work today, so give me a break. Hi Zero, hi, welcome. Watching Tipanya? Remove stress? Oh yeah, let me oh no, an equal and opposite force, no! But hi, hope everything's well. Alright. So now that we talked about stress, let's talk about strain. So mechanical strain on a human tissue can be defined as the percentage of deformity of the shape, the length, or width of a tissue. So the complement to stress is going to be strain. We saw that with stress that a force interacting with a body will create a deformity. How large this deformity is, it depends on the amount of stress, and of course it's the makeup of the materials that body is composed of. Materials such as steel undergoes deformities, but they're not always visible because they're so small and compared to the change of deformity that we may see in many of the other human connective tissue of the musculoskeletal system. So basically, yeah, you can bend steel, but it might not be as visible as you think, but oh boy, if you start bending a person, that's going to be pretty visible, huh? So the magnitude of deformity depends also upon the size of the body subject to the external force. Therefore, similar to stress, we can normalize the amount of deformities to the initial length or volume of the body. This allows us to compare the material properties of tissues which are of different size. Let's see if we can sum this up. Let's see if we can use this example and then wrap it up so we can repeat it in like terms that I can understand. Alright, so if we take two pieces of elastic bands, like elastic exercise bands, have you heard of like TheraBands before, Cubs? Let's say we grab two of these elastic exercise bands of unequal length, so one's longer than the other. Let's say A is longer, B is not as long. So we stretch them with the same amount of force. Which one is going to elongate further? Is it going to be the longer or the shorter one? If the elastic exercise band elongates 25% in both conditions, the linear change will actually be greater in the longer band. And then it says we could do math. And then I said, no, never mind. That's really interesting. Wait. So if we had unequal like elastic bands, it's saying that the longer one would have more strain or a percentage of deformity. But why not the shorter one? That's a professor question. Anyway, let's move on. Whoa, math? No way. Gets out. Alright, so there's actually a really cool curve that we can learn about called the stress strain curve. There's also another name for it, but I don't remember. I think the Young's model? Yeah. There's actually 3 PowerPoints about this, so let's kind of review this and see if we can go back to understand. But basically, the higher the stress, the more strain! Typically. So the concepts of stress and strain provide the basics for understanding some of the important mechanical properties of musculoskeletal connective tissue, and allows us to go back now and provide a definition of what strength of a tissue really is. So again, we're having that existential crisis, like, okay, what's really strength? Well, strength we can determine by the stress and strain. So to begin with the understanding of tissue strength, let's take a hypothetical connective tissue from the musculoskeletal system and place it into a specialized instrument which can measure the stress and strain of that material. So the instrument can provide a tensile force to the tissue, so we're going to be stretching that tug of war, while measuring simultaneously the amount of tissue that's going to elongate and the amount of force it takes to do so. So this instrument can thus measure stress and strain of a tissue undergoing that type of load. We could then take the data, plot it, The graph here is demonstrating the relationship between the magnitude of the stress and the magnitude of strain that's occurring as a result of an external tensile force on our hypothetical ligament. So just to note that basically this is not going to be like a linear, like solid line. This is definitely going to curve, kind of stays a little consistent right there, and then whoop. So let's go to the next one. This one is a little more detailed. So for this one, here's going to be the same stress strain curve that we saw, but with more detail. So now we have this thing called elastic region, which is right here, and then we have the non-elastic region. So before we get into anything, let's actually define the term elasticity. So elasticity from a mechanical perspective is a term that characterizes a material that when subject to a load which results in deformity, when subject to a load that results in deformity, removal of the load results in the material returning back fully to its original shape and size. So similar to that, again, that like very weirdly cruel rubber monkey example. Yes, though the monkey did fall quite a distance, sort of thing, it's able to regain its normal form. Part of me is like monkey, rubber monkey, TikTok. No, this is a whole series. What? Oh no. Okay, no, we're not getting into that. That's too much. Okay. Anyway, elasticity in short is going to basically be like, hey, if you apply a load, it can be whatever load, can be the compressive, can be the tensile, can be the shearing, it's going to return back to the original shape even if you stretch it out. And there's actually a certain range that some of our ligaments and tendons can do when in elastic range. Yeah, you're stretching some things, but hey, it can return back to its normal length and shape. So a rubber band, and not the rubber monkey I keep talking about, it's going to be an example of a material that is fully elastic. And so when we apply a tensile load to the rubber band, we're going to cause it to elongate. And when we remove that tensile load, because remember, tug of war, tensile, when we remove it, it's going to return back to its original shape. As related to mechanics, or mechanic? Oh my. As related to mechanics, sorry. When a material returns back to its original shape after it's been loaded and unloaded, the stress and deformities. Wait, that's written weird. Huh? I'm skipping that. It's important to realize that all connective tissues of the body have some level of elasticity. Even bone is elastic, which is actually really crazy to think about. To some aspect, your bone is slightly elastic, and we're not talking about rubber band, and we're not making you like the next elastic girl or anything like that, but it's just that ability to make sure that even if it's deformed even slightly, it's able to return back to its normal state. So, up until basically this mark right here, like we said, is our elastic region. If it goes anything past this, basically we'll start seeing the ligament, the tendon, the biological tissue start behaving a little bit differently in this non-elastic region. So now we're gonna kind of upgrade our stress strain curve a little bit more. Ba-boom! So this is a little complicated. So we'll definitely read through this and kind of go over it and then hope for the best. Tips, are you saying it could become Luffy from One Piece? If you put your mind to it, you can have this perseverance, and that's about it. I don't think you could actually stretch. I mean, you can be really flexible. You can be inspired by Luffy from One Piece. Anyway. So this is apparently the simplified stress strain curve. I'm pretty sure like the other two are very simplified. So this one's actually gonna be an example of what we have in the body. Have you ever heard of like an ACL tear? ACL is gonna stand for anterior cruciate ligament. This is actually a ligament that we have in our knee. Let me grab a picture really quick just to like. Not that it totally matters, but it'd be really important. Alright, so this is our knee. You have our patella right here, that free moving bone that's just attached by a bunch of ligaments. You could grab that bad boy and move it up, down, left, right. It's so scary. The meniscus we saw was in between and what we had talked about earlier. And then right here, what's crossing, going anteriorly or to the front, that's going to be our anterior cruciate ligament. This ligament tends to be sprained very, very often, especially in a lot of people who are, I guess, more of athletic nature. You tend to hear a lot in sports because what happens is that this can happen to a sudden twisting motion most of the time, and that's how it gets teared. So you'll hear it for, again, like a lot of sports, apparently a lot of like basketball, soccer, football, skiing, and tennis. And pretty much what's going to happen if you do have this tear, you're going to have knee swelling, instability, and pain, and you can opt to do multiple things. A lot of people tend to do like an ACL repair, so they take the surgical approach. Alright, so now that we have an idea of what we're looking at, that tiny baby ligament does so much for us in our knees. Thank God for our body, am I right? But when an external force attempts to elongate the ligaments, we can see a distinct change in the shape of the stress strain curve. So as you see, we're putting a lot of stress to it. So again, stress again is that property to resist external change, yeah? So here we go. We have the elastic region, here's our yield point, and then here's our non-elastic region where we're gonna get into micro failure, and then we can possibly get into complete failure, but now I'm just skipping. So as the ligament first begins to undergo tensile force, there's a little change in the internal resistance to load, but a significant amount of deformity. So here. This is referred to as the toe region of the curve. So right here, toe region. Why did they name it this? Is it because if you really like use your imagination, it's a foot? I don't know. I have to be stretching this. So okay, what is the toe region? The toe region, it's gonna be as the ligament first begins to undergo a tensile force, there's little change in the internal resistance to load, but a significant amount of deformity. Okay. Little internal resistance, lots of deformity. So like a vice versa relationship. Counter. Oh my gosh, there's a better word for that. Big hack. Anyway, opposites are opposites. Yeah. So as you'll learn, a ligament's main component is collagen, And collagen, without any external load on it, tends to exist in a shape that is rather wavy or crimped in nature. This waviness can be seen in location A on the graph and can be easily lost with only a little tensile force. Oh no! What's a good example of this? Curly spaghetti noodle? Or maybe if you have curly hair? I don't know, your friend has curly hair? I don't know. But basically you have something that's curly and then you straighten it out because again you have a little bit of that external load or a little bit of that tensile force which is going to be pulling it apart. It's going to become a little bit straight. So here you go here. Sorry, this is A, by the way, where my cursor is. It's wavy, whoa, and then it stretches out because you have the tensile forces pulling on this collagen. So therefore there's little internal resistance or stress and the ligament deforms easily, hence why this is the toe region. So if the tensile load is removed anytime in this range, the ligament is going to return back to its original shape and thus behaving as an elastic material, which makes sense because we are in the elastic region. Wow. Anyway. After the waviness of the internal collagenous structures are completely eliminated, further tensile load on the ligament demonstrates a linear relationship between the amount of strain and the internal resistance to the external force, so we can see in B. Bro, we can get the Pythagorean theorem out here too, look at that. Anyway, so around here at B, in this range, the ligament's still behaving like a purely elastic material. So, however, as the external tensile load keeps increasing, there's a point in the graph where it departs from being linear and it appears that the stress-strain relationship begins to significantly change. Excuse me. The external load has now started to break some of the collagen fibers within the ligament structure, and this is actually termed as a microfailure. Collagen is the main component of the ligament that resists tensile loads, so the point where this occurs is designated as the yield point of the material. So right here, anything after elastic is going to be going into that microfailure that we were talking about earlier. After this point and up to the point of failure, the material will continue to undergo deformity, but if you completely remove the external tensile load, then the tissue will not go all the way back to its original shape, and thus not it behaving as a fully elastic material. Why? Because again, its internal structure undergoes microfailure, and so it's unable to return back to its original shape. So this is actually going to be referred to as the plastic region of the stress-strain curve. So again, elastic, then we got plastic. Not as fantastic as the Barbie song says. So from a clinical standpoint, ligaments operate within the toe region and the first part of the linear elastic range during their day-to-day functional activities. Anything more? Don't do it. Alright. So we have Young's modulus of elasticity, and pretty much that's gonna be the slope where we have to pull the Pythagorean theorem out. We can find out the slope of the linear elastic zone, aka like some of the stiffness that some people may be having, which is actually really cool to think about, but heck nuts and math. In this PowerPoint, we'll read the description, but my tutor had gone over this, and they were just like, yeah, just know that the ACL has more of elastic than the trabecular bone. My brain is so dummy. What is the trabecular bone again? Heck. Trabecular bone, also called the cancellous bone, is a porous bone composed of trabecular bone tissue. It is found at the ends of long bones like the femur. Okay, let's go. Where the bone is actually not solid, but it's full of holes connected by thin rods and plates of bone tissue. Okay. So your femur, think of your thigh. Your femur is your thigh bone. So at the end, you know how you have like those like little bumps and knobs? That's gonna be your trabecular bone, which is gonna be very porous. It's actually kind of interesting to look at it. Let me pull up a picture. Can I show a real bone? I'm gonna show a real bone. This is for science and anatomy and learning. But look at that. That's actually really crazy to think, yep, that's us. But as you see, this is the porous aspect, and then as you see, this becomes a little bit more solid, becoming the compact bone. Alright, I'm gonna sip water. term stiffness is a fairly common term used to describe many different clinical conditions of muscles, tendons, ligaments, and other connective tissues. There are a number of clinical descriptions of stiffness, but mechanically, we're going to define stiffness by the ratio of stress to strain. Something that is stiffer will resist deformities to a greater extent than a tissue that is less stiff. So, stainless steel? Kind of stiff. I don't think I could really mess it up. Give me a patellar tendon though. The patellar again was that weird floating bone we saw in front of our knee. You can hack that up real quick. You apply a little bit of force to that bad boy, bam, gone. Deep inside, we all look like oh no, merengue. We do. Oh my goodness. Hold on. No. You know, it reminds me of this candy that I used to. Or maybe it's not candy. Robo, you help me find the name of this thing I've been looking for. Can I show you? This! There was I had gone to a Spanish supermarket many years ago, and they had this like thing, and it was like coconut, and I bit into it, and it was very like hollow. I didn't realize this was the same thing. I just never been able to find it like this again. So thank you. Alright, let me close out these tabs. I love sweets. Bam. Anyway, we can quantify stiffness by mathematically looking at the stress to strain relationship. So, note the difference in the stiffness properties of a male versus a female anterior cruciate ligament. So, that's our ACL that we were talking about earlier. So, for females, it's not as stiff? Or it is more stiff? No. Excuse me. Female ACL is not as stiff as male ACL. Also note in the graph the difference in stiffness between the bone and plastic component of an artificial knee joint. Where? Huh? I must have missed it. But look, our cortical bone, or like the compound bone. Look, 18,000 stiffness, let's go! Well, the trabecular bone, which we were looking at earlier, that's 90. That's horrifying. that bad boy can deform so easy. How sad. That's okay. So let's talk about connective tissue more in detail. We said connective tissue this, connective tissue that, but what the heck is connective tissue again? Let's find out and see. So we can break down we can break down connective tissue by the cells and the extracellular matrix. And from the extracellular matrix, we can break it down into further subsets. We could do A and B. So we have the fibular, fibular components, which is going to be our collagen and elastin, which we were talking about earlier. And then we have our interfibular components, aka our ground substance, which is something talked about in one of the previous classes. I vaguely remember. Wow, it's all building up, huh? Anyway, so we have glycoproteins and proteoglycans. For the I'm not gonna say these names, I'm so sorry. Anyway, and we also have mineral deposits for our ground substance. So let's actually read and see a little bit more about it. So the various connective tissues of the musculoskeletal system present with quite different elastic moduli and clinically present as having different magnitudes of stiffness. Certainly most would state that the bone is stiffer than a tendon. Yeah, I would agree. I think bone is stiffer than our tendon, which again is going to be that thing that's going to connect our muscle to the bone. As you learned in your anatomy course, the fundamental elements that comprise connective tissue involves connective tissue involved with the musculoskeletal system are going to be fibrous proteins, ground substance, and various types of cells. Oh. Thank you, ground substance and anatomy. Each type of the tissues in the muscular and peripheral nervous system possess unique quantities of each of these components. These unique proportions and arrangements of the various fibulary and vestibular. Components are the basis of each tissue's mechanical properties. Consider that bone tendon and bone tissues contain the same basic components, but not the same arrangement, and certainly not the same proportions. Got it. So let's talk a little bit more about collagen. So collagen is going to be a dominant fibrous type molecule making up the muscular connective tissue. So we can review the actual chemistry of it. It's like, in case you've forgotten the basic structure and makeup of this protein. Realize that collagen mechanically is designed to resist tensile forces so that pull apart. So collagen is going to be composed chemistry. 3 repeating amino acid sequence that are going to fold into a characteristic triple helical structure. So it's going to look something like this. Wow! Lysine and proline are going to compose it as well. And it's just going to be a triple... Yes. Oh no, this is a review slide. I don't think I've seen this. Take time to review the basic processes involving the hierarchy arrangements of collagen fibers. In this unit, the reference to collagen is to the highest order, or collagen fiber. What? What is this? Synthesis of collagen. So we have our change, and then we said it was 3, so we have our collagen, which is going to be basically everything wrapped up, but we have to get those loose ends set, and then we have our collagen, which is going to be right here, all nice and tight, just like a Twizzler. You know, my classmates, bless her heart, what do you call it? One of my classmates got Twizzlers, and she's like, I got them because I really wanted them, but they were BOGO. So I had too many, so she's like, take them away from me. And I hadn't had Twizzlers in a very, very long time. So it's like, oh, I actually hated these straight up. I'm gonna try. It was not super tasty. I still don't like Twizzlers. Are you guys familiar with Twizzlers? I don't know if it's like US. It's just like red licorice candies. Is this Space Invaders? It might as well be. Ah, Twizzlers. There's a costume for it. They don't look like Twizzlers. They look like bacon. Holy heck. Anyway, yeah, not a big fan of these, unfortunately. Oh. Anyway, so this is apparently a review slide, which they're not wrong. It is review from anatomy. So collagen producing cells. So yes, collagen is going to make up a good portion of our musculoskeletal tissue, but what's going to help produce the collagen to become the majority? So we're going to have several things, and a lot of these again are going to be vocab. So we have our fibroblasts, which is going to be the connective tissue matrix. We have our chondroblasts and the chondrocytes, which are going to be in the cartilage. Hence, I like to remember it's C and C. C for cartilage, C for chondroblasts or chondrocytes. We have osteoblasts, which is going to be in the bone, osteo meaning bone. Thank you, Latin. We have skeletal muscle cells, which is going to be in the skeleton. And we have smooth muscle cells, which is going to be in the BVs. Blood vessels? Yeah, I guess. Why did they take out blood vessels? Lazy. Yeah. So smooth muscle tissues in the blood vessels and some organs. So, yay. Alright. Biomechanics of collagen fibrils. So we have to consider the mechanical properties of these. So we have to see or consider 4 things. We have to consider the tensile stiffness and understanding that it's going to elongate less than 10%. To understand that these collagen fibrils are going to have a high strength. So you're going to need a high magnitude of stress in order to fracture this. We also have little direct resistance to compression due to small ratio of length to thickness, and our last thing is higher resistance to shear with the elastic fibers, and again, shearing is that kind of like grinding or that parallel force. Biomechanically, collagen as a macromolecule exhibits high tensile strength. However, it provides little resistance to compressive forces. Note that collagen fibers are inherently elastic because they are parallel fibers of helical crystals which appear and act somewhat like a coiled spring. Cute! That's a good way to memorize it as well. So again, our mechanical properties that we're going to consider for this. Tensile stiffness, high strength, little direct resistance to compression because they're so tiny, and then there's a higher resistance to shearness. Look how packed they are. Oh, that's a body. It wasn't bad. It was just bone. Anyway, how does collagen elongate? So we can consider two things as well. So ultra structurally, collagenous fibers allow elongation via the reduction of the waviness of the bundle. So remember, talking about like that toe region. And two, a small slipping of one fiber relative to the next one. So let's read the description and understand this a little bit better. So we saw earlier in the stress strain graph that within the toe region, collagen fibers of a tendon tend to assume a wavy appearance when unloaded and can be lengthened simply by a small external tensile force that can be reduced or that can reduce the waviness. Additionally, tendons and ligaments can deform longitudinal, and part of it arises from the combination of small slippage of one fiber relative to another. However, unless the external force creates microfailures, the fiber will behave as an elastic material and return back to its original length once the external load is removed. Whoa! Why would ligaments, capsules, and tendons become stiffer as strain increases? So we have unloaded, which are going to be our non-stretch collagen, and then we have externally loaded. We have that force being applied and it's going to stretch the collagen fibers. So why do these ligaments, capsule, tendons become stiffer as strain increases? So one question that is important to answer is why connective tissue such as ligaments or tendons have the ability to resist external tensile loads when increasing deformation? The answer lies to a large part of the molecular structure and the orientation of the macromolecules, especially collagen. Collagen molecules are aligned for the most part in the long axis direction of the ligament and tendon. So you remember our X and Y's? The long horizontal axis. As the tissue stretches, more of the fibers are directly aligned to resist the stretch and packed tightly together, which results in a greater internal resistance as the tissue deforms more and more. So the two electron micrographs of collagen in the stretch versus unload condition demonstrates not only the loss of waviness of the collagen, but the more organized alignment and the closer packing together of the fibers. So to answer why does it become stiffer as strain increases, it's going to be how they're aligned. And what happens is that as these are stretched, more of the fibers that are going to be aligned are going to resist the stretch and pack together, which is going to create that internal resistance or that higher stress. Last PowerPoint, yay! So stiffness in the connective tissue again is going to be the resistance to deformity. Let's also let's also consider collagen. Again, collagen, that whole thing we were just talking about at the later half of these PowerPoints. It's going to be the greater the density of bonds between the fibers or between the fibers and the matrix, the greater the stiffness is. And also consider the collagen matrix interface and interactions. Blah. So there's a question, but I hope it gets answered. FDP, FDS, EDC. What is this? Flexor digitorum profundus? Flexor digitorum superficialis? External digitorum? C? What is C? EDC. EDC. What is EDC? EDC muscle. Oh, it's a very fancy way to say just extensor digitorum. So why are these tendons so very stiff? Or wait, these tendons are very stiff? Question mark. How much strain will create permanent elongation? And how does heat affect the terms of collagen stiffness? Let's go. Atomic hydrate? I got you. Wait. This is the last slide. Believe in me. I'll hydrate afterwards, okay? So in summary, how stiff a tendon or ligament is depends directly on the collagen arrangements and the interactions of collagen with another collagen molecule, or with interactions of collagen with another extracellular component. But also because collagen provides a framework of sorts that it provides many of the mechanical properties of the tissue. The three-dimensional organizational collagen, for example, is a line parallel to a long axis and therefore is also parallel to the tremendous pulling force arising from muscular contraction. I didn't get anything from that! Ah! Gotta make up for that 1 p.m. water? I do! It's such a shame. I keep forgetting my I don't want to bring this bulky water bottle to work. So I just leave it at home, but let me see. I've been trying to drink like a gallon of water a day, which is really unfortunate. I don't know if I told you, cubs, when I started drinking it, I realized like how dehydrated I was, and my body requested more. Like my lips are dry, and I was very confused. I'm like, but I'm drinking more water than I've ever drank before. What are you talking about? Why am I dehydrated? But now my skin and everything is back to normal, so thank hecking goodness. Anyway, I'm gonna, let's see, can I chug? I'm at like 2 o'clock right now. I'll chug to like 3, and then I'll also get this set up. So let me politely mute myself so you don't hear me go. I definitely need to up my water intake. That's honestly why I got this water bottle. Oh, it was also on sale. It was for $10 for a gallon. It's because I'm like, man, other than like health, beauty reasons, I guess, I actually kind of got this because what happened is sometimes I could find myself sitting on the computer for long periods of time. So if I like chug a bunch of water, I have to get up and pee. So it helps me indirectly from like not dying from a blood clot in my brain or something, or in my legs. I guess. Chapstick for dry lips? No, I have it and I use it. But it was just really weird because I was drinking a lot of water and then I got dry lips and I'm like, what? But again, everything got back to normal, so I'm happy. Alright, I'm gonna check this. Hold on. And get this other one set up. So one moment. Man, I feel like I chugged a bunch. I got 3 o'clock. I guess that's fair? Question mark? 3:30? I don't know. I'm like eyeing it now. I'm what the cool kids call coping. Alright, let me switch over to this PowerPoint. I got this set up and bam. Man. Stop changing size. Hold on. Fix yourself. No! No! Okay, that's good. That's good. Alright, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. That's a little obnoxious. Huh? Drinking a bunch of water so you can't sit still for too long? Big brain. Honestly? Only Teru kept scaring me about the blood clots and all that jazz. So I was like, damn, you're right, Teru. But I don't know. I think it helps. Alright, so we talked about the basic principles. All that. So let's talk about something a little bit more straightforward. Let's talk about this but continued, but in terms that we're more familiar with. So viscosity. So honestly, when I think of viscosity, I think of like how like thick a fluid is, sort of thing. Or really, when I think of viscosity, I think of honey. So viscosity is going to be an application of continuous force to a fluid body, and that the fluid body will continually deform, and this is going to be called flow. So you can think of it as the flow of water or the flow of honey. Thick water, honestly, actually, I'm not going to lie to you, there are some people who have trouble swallowing, and what happens is they need to get like a different kind of formula of water, and I think they just refer to it as like thick water, which encourages them to drink it. So yeah, it's out there. Thick water with 2 C's. Anyway, so that resistance to flow or shear is going to be called viscosity. So fluids are substances that flow or take shape of the immediate environment or continuously deform with external shearing loads. Fluids exist in a considerable amount within the human body, including the musculoskeletal tissues. The amount of resistance of a fluid to deformation is called viscosity. The two beakers containing fluids, one with a more minimal amount of resistance to flow, and the other one with a much greater resistance to flow. The one on the right is more viscous. How do we tell? I don't know. Sorry. In connective tissues, the extracellular matrix contains water and macromolecules called proteoglycans. We will... Lion, I'm here talking about viscosity, but you're as sweet as the honey viscosity. Thank you for the 10,000 bits. I appreciate you to itty bitty bits. Thank you. Thick bits with 2C. No, but seriously, thank you. Holy heck. Christ freaks out, pukes. Wait, but no, thank you. That's a lot of $5. We were just talking about on the Discord. Zero was like, how do I make Tipa happy? And it's like $5. I'm not gonna do the math, but that's a lot of $5 in bits. So thank you again. But yeah. I hope everything's well. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so shy. And anyway, in the connective tissues, the extracellular matrix contains water and macromolecules called proteoglycans. As we learned shortly, these both affect the flow of fluid within the connective tissue. Basically, when you understand how the flow of fluid works and how that's going to affect the mechanical properties of the connective tissue as they apply with some of the modalities and interventions are going to be involving movement. So, oh look, a honey example. Consider what would happen to a fluid such as honey when you apply heat to it. As the temperature rises, the honey appears to exhibit less resistance to flow. If connective tissues contains fluid, then they must be influenced by any flow of fluid within them. So I hope it really kind of talks more in depth of like, hey, if you feel a little bit sore or if you feel tightness and all that, why you should apply a heat pack. And you know, that's why they're like, oh, you'll loosen up. Well, I guess this is really the science behind that, huh? But yeah. So we have the interfibrillary matrix of the connective tissue. What is this? You see this? So these are going to be hydrated proteins, the proteoglycans or the GAGs, which is going to be the... Oh no, are they just saying stuff? I'm not reading all that. Maybe I should. Heck. Okay, hydrated proteins, proteoglycans. We have GAGs, which is going to include some of the... Hi, what is this? Zelda, hyaluronic proteins, which is going to be like in the synovial fluid or the cartilage. We're going to have a chondrotic sulfate, which is going to be in the cartilage, tendons, ligaments, nucleus pulposus. We're going to have the dermatin sulfate, which is going to be in our skin, blood vessels again, question mark, tendons, fibrocartilage. And then we have our keratin sulfate, which is going to be on bones, cartilage, nucleus pulposa, and do we have a second pulposa? I don't approve of this slide. We also have our glycoproteins. So connective tissues do indeed contain a large number of fluids within their extracellular matrices. Between and interspersed between the collagen... Oh, this is written weird. Between the collagenous and the fibrillar components of musculoskeletal tissues, our macromolecules are going to be highly hydrated proteins called again our proteoglycans and our glycoproteins. These macromolecules bind are going to hold on to a large amount of water molecules, and as we're going to learn soon, hopefully, these hydrated structures are going to provide a significant role in the material properties of cartilage, bone, tendon, and ligament. So let's talk about viscoelastic material. So a material that has to or seems to have both fluid and solid properties. A viscoelastic material displays both viscous and elastic characteristics when undergoing transformation. For example, we can think of our tendons and ligaments. If you kind of squish those bad boys, it's kind of like, oh, you're kind of squishy. Kind of have a little bit of fluid, but we definitely know these things are relatively solid. So, to some degree, all connective tissue contains fluid in them, so which means that all connective tissue are going to exhibit the mechanical properties related to the flow and the elastic properties of solid structures such as collagen. Connective tissues are thus viscoelastic in nature, so all those long things we were talking about before are going to be somewhat in this nature. Viscoelasticity is going to be a mechanical behavior in muscle, tendon, cartilage, and ligaments. So viscoelasticity is, when we compare this to the stress-strain curve, this is going to be when the stress-strain relationship changes as a function of time. Interesting. Alright. Oh wait, one moment. Forgot to update that. Alright. So we could define this as a time-dependent mechanical behavior where the stress response of a material depends on the amount of time that strain is applied. So again, that percentage of deformity of, again, changing the length, the width, the height. There was 3 properties to change. We also have to consider the strain rate at which this is going to be applied and the previous condition of this material. As we said, most connective tissue or most biological tissues are going to be viscoelastic. So the main importance to understanding viscoelasticity is that the structures exhibiting these properties will demonstrate time-dependent behaviors. In other words, the internal resistance to deformity from an external load will not only depend on how much deformity is occurring, but also of how quickly or slowly, as well as how long that external load is applied. I think it was in the previous unit they were talking about like a tree branch, and we could kind of talk about it like if a tree was somehow viscoelastic. Let's just use that example. Let's say you were hanging off a branch. You're not in danger, you're just hanging out. And you hang there for a very long time. Basically you have to consider like how long you're hanging there. So again, that's going to be the strain that's going to be applied, the rate that's applied. Like, did you like jump up and it was like a really fast like whoosh, all right, we're going down, or was it like a slow-mo kind of hop into that tree branch? The world may never know. And then we also have to consider, hey, was that branch somewhat affected in the past? Like, I don't know, did someone also try to do this and it slightly weakened it? World may never know, part 2. Anyway, so we therefore need to understand that the behavior of a ligament or tendon is not the same after 1 minute than it would be in 2 minutes during stretching. The elastic type behavior of connective tissue such as tendons and ligaments are load dependent but are not time dependent. If the tendon or ligament is not permanently deformed, the elastic properties return the tissue back to its resting shape or length, which is what we had talked about in that previous PowerPoint of the stress-strain curve. If it's still within its elastic region, it's going to return back to the original shape. Viscous materials resist deformities but will dampen sudden deformities. So think of your screen door damper that allows the screen door to shut, but it does it at a slow rate to prevent it from slamming shut so forcefully. It relies on the flow of fluid and its mechanism to do so. Most biological tissues behave elasticity and show viscous properties. Yes, big thumbs up. Alright. So viscous effects and time-dependent behaviors of connective tissues. So let's see how this is going to be via the reorganization of collagen and proteoglycans, PGs. So one deformity we can consider is the creep response. Excuse me. Sorry, I laugh because not because the word creep, but Rip had karaoke recently. I'm gonna give her a shout out because I love her. And she was doing karaoke and she's saying creep, so it just like brought back those memories. Anyway, so there's a creep response for deformity, and that's going to be the tendency of a solid material to slowly deform, because as this deformity is happening, it's strain that's occurring, because remember, it's the property to resist, and if it's slowly deforming, it's not necessarily resisting that well. But this is going to be under the influence of a constant load. So the tendency of solid material to slowly deform under an influence of constant load. Well, now let's consider our other deformity of stress relaxation response. This is going to be the tendency for a material held at a constant length, constant strain level, to experience a decreased magnitude of stress. I want to say stretching would be an example of this, but I am not well versed to say. So let's read the little description. When we speak of time-dependent behaviors of connective tissue, there are two mechanical terms to be aware of. When stretching a tendon like the Achilles tendon in the lower leg, the tendon will elongate to a certain strain and hold it to stretch at a constant level, and the tendon will continue to elongate. Initially, the external stretching load creates a stress in the tendon that resists elongation, and the tendon will deform according to its elastic strain properties. However, because the tendon exhibits viscoelasticity, it will continue to deform over time if the external load remains constant as the internal resistance relaxes. This viscoelastic behavior is characterized as creep. Another way of understanding viscoelastic behavior is to look at it through a different time-dependent manner called stress relaxation response. Instead of holding an external load, you can see the internal resistance of the tendon relaxes if you measure the strength when you hold the Achilles tendon at a constant length of time. Oh, so maybe this is in reference to like stretching like the back of your leg, because that's where the Achilles tendon is. It didn't give me more examples. I want to explain it, but I get it. Creep is gonna be constant load. Stress relaxation is gonna be constant length. We could kind of think of it as stretching, or that's how I would like to hope that's how it's being perceived. Yeah. Creep of ST or connective tissue. Sorry. So this is gonna be a time-dependent increase in strain with constant stress. So here's a graphical representation of the hypothetical tissue. Oh wow. Experimentally, if you take a tendon or ligament and subject it to a constant load, in this case a tensile load, so again that pull apart, the material will rapidly deform, followed by a slower increase in strain over time. So the take-home message is that viscoelastic materials continue to elongate, stretch, even when you do not increase the stretching force on them. So what it is saying is that, hey, let's say we're stretching this muscle belly. Yay. So the initial deformation is going to happen right here, because yeah, anytime you're going to pull weight, especially 30 pounds, that's pretty heavy. You're going to pull it and it's going to pull down. But what happens is that some creep is going to occur, and it's going to lower even a little bit longer, because again, creep is that constant load. That constant load over time, our creep is going to be increasing. So we have to understand creep is actually going to be reversible as long as the strain did not fall into that plastic range. As long as it's still within the elastic range, we are good. In other words, you did not exceed the tissue's elastic range. The return to resting length is not instantaneously, and it's also a function of time. So your muscle is not going to be like a rubber band. You stretch it out, but it's not going to necessarily come back. You give it time, and this right here is going to look just like this. So it's commonplace to suggest and provide interventions involving stretching tendons and ligaments with a goal of improving flexibility. Let's go! Here it is, the stretch example. Anyway, if you consider what you learned so far, stretching cannot make tissues necessarily longer without creating microfiber damage. Oh no, like the microfailures in the stress strain curve? No! When elongated, tendons and ligaments will either creep and recover, for example, not get permanently longer, or elongate far enough to plastically deform, aka like the damaged fibers. Repetitive stretching in fact triggers a cellular response that would result in the ligament or tendon producing more collagen to increase the capacity to resist the deformation. In other words, it will exhibit a greater internal resistance to tensile forces. Bam, Bam, boom. Alright, let's see. Sorry. Alright, so let's talk about the stress load relaxation. So here's the same hypothetical tissue that we saw in our creep example. But it's back, baby, sideways. But also because remember, the reason why it's sideways is that the stress load is not under constant load like the creep was. This is going to be under a constant length. So here's the immediate increase with the internal resistance. So from A, you stretch it out. Oh, the length. And here it is at B. It's stretched. Again, there's an immediate increase in the internal resistance to the elongation, and after that, the internal resistance becomes slowly decreased. This is complementary to creep. It's just another way to look at a time-dependent behavior of viscoelastic tissue. So we see that it's normal, we applied our length, and over time, the stress is going to be consistent. So there's going to be different types of connective tissue deformity. So we're going to have elastic, viscoelastic, plastic, and viscoelastic plus plastic deformity. So in summary, the deformation or strain of connective tissues can be seen to behave as either elastic or viscoelastic material. Excuse me. Permanent change in a connective tissue length or shape can only occur when the tissue has undergone microfailure. The viscous behavior of connective tissue characterizes the influence of time and the rates of deformation under an external load and during the recovery following release of the external load. Consider how the body could utilize the elastic properties of a muscle's connective tissue, such as the gastrocnemius muscle generating force. So, for example, during locomotion of the ankle plantar flexions, they are an important muscle in propulsion. The Achilles tendon is elongated during the gait cycle. Muscles and tendons can store and then return to elastic energy during motion. So I didn't mean to skip to that so quickly. So it's saying basically like, hey, what about, our gastrocnemius? So, the calf muscles that we have in the back of our legs below our knee. Your most superficial muscle is going to be the gastrocnemius, and that can help generate force, and that can help us with our plantar flexion. The tendon, which is more superficial, or not superficial, the gastrocnemius connects to the Achilles tendon, but whatever. Basically, it's just saying, hey, all of these can do this, and pretty much it can store this energy and return back to its elastic, like normal, not plastic region, the elastic region, and return back to its original shape. In other words, thank you, description. The elastic properties of the connective tissues of the muscle and tendons can be force generators when needed. As we'll see, the musculoskeletal system takes advantage of the stress-strain relationship during movement, and thus it's important to understand these basic material properties. 10 more slides. Resilience, that's what I need. Alright, the property of a tissue to absorb energy when it's elastic, or when it is elastically deformed, and then upon unloading to have this energy vigorously recover. Think, fast recovery of stored energy. Example, a rubber band shows a fairly high degree of resilience. Clinical application, tendons have the ability to release energy from being stretched very rigorously. Okay. And back. And welcoming back. Welcome my page. Welcome. Hope the barn duties are good. Many words? Too many words. Take me back to video games. Gym teacher Tiffany. I don't think I have actually told you guys this, but I'm job hunting right now. And one of the jobs I was looking at a while back, I've been job hunting for quite some time. I'm currently employed, but oh god, my job. One of the jobs I was looking for was a PE teacher. And do not get me wrong, I don't think PE was like my favorite course ever, but because of my background and everything, I'm like, oh, it just makes sense. But in Bearcat Mountain, you actually need a degree for teaching that, or Bearcat Mountain can kind of be backwards sometimes. I think I can get away with being a PE teacher without having like a teaching degree, but I need to be able to have like the certification like within a certain time once I get hired. So, ooh, that was a potential possibility. But then I kind of got scared because America, you know, and schools and all that jazz. There's another gym teacher position that was open, but it was for a really highly religious school. And they're like, we need a reference from your pastor. And I'm like, so I was like, no. Anyway, so yeah, resilience, huh? So there are a few specific terms that you should be familiar with when dealing with discussions regarding the material properties of connective tissue. The first term is resilience. We all have heard the term resilience. However, mechanically, we're going to define this as a property of tissue to absorb energy when its elasticity is deformed, and then upon unloading to have this energy rigorously recover. Before, when we discussed elastic properties, time was not a factor, and a tissue which is highly resilient recovers in its resting length or shape very quickly upon its release of the external load. Well, I did not read that right. Droves it away. From your pastor? 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 Yes. It was really weird. I didn't apply because, one, what the hecky? I just want employment, but again, the school is like very highly religious, and I was like, okay. So I have not become a gym teacher. Hopefully with Pause Cross, I did hear back from one job that I'm really interested in. I get to work with kids in a similar field to physical therapy, but not necessarily that. But it is getting them like up and active and like performing exercises with them, and maybe doing also some behavioral things as well. So that's actually really exciting. I have the interview Monday, so pause cross. They pay more than my current job, but they're not far, but they're further than my current commute. And then I have to pay tolls to get there, and then no, I'm just kidding. And then the hours that they're giving me, they're like, oh, we can offer you like 12 to 20 hours, and I'm like, that's fine. Pain. That's fine. Your girl needs to pay rent. But I also need to study, so I'm just like, I'm not mad. I hope my loan money comes in very handy. Anyway, that's me. That's my tip talk for the day. Anyway, let me continue. So, what is a good way to say resilience? Can we just use this basketball? So, I guess when you do play basketball or when you bounce a ball from the floor, it's going to be deformed. But as soon as you bring it back up, ta-da! It's recovered! I hope you find a good job, thumb squeeze. I'm squeezing my thumbs so hard. Ah! I want a nice remote at-home job, but every place is stinky or a scam. They either pay you $10 and they're like, well, you're working from home, so it's okay. Or it's just like, give me your social security number. Here's a cruise line you can work with and vacation group. Thumb squeeze. Anyway. So yeah, that would be a really good example of resilience. Oh, we got a moving basketball! Let's go! Alright. Tissue dampening. Wow! So the property of a tissue to absorb energy, and the rate and amount of energy is dissipated when the tissue is elastically deformed. So the energy that we kind of put into it is not going to recover directly back into the tissue. This can actually be considered the opposite of resilience. So the viscoelastic materials have property of dampening. They are slower to recover in their original shape or length versus purely elastic material. So viscoelasticity of a connected tissue leads to a term called dampening. While it's somewhat opposite of resilience, tissue dampening from the viscous properties of a connected tissue dampens the elastic rebound and recovery. It slows down the rate of recovery back to its resting length or shape after being deformed by an external load. And muscles and tendons, this is an important property. Nice. that allows smooth and controlled movements rather than jerky ballistic type motions if the muscle tendon complex's behavior is purely elastic. Memory foam is a good example of this material that exhibits high levels of dampening. If you press your hand into the foam, recovery of the material occurs, but at a very, very slow rate. I have this. Things indent me. A memory foam is just so fun though. But yeah, we can imagine our biological connective tissue having this property of tissue dampening. So like the example we see with the memory foam, you press your hand, wow, you left your mark onto the world. Congratulations, that mark is going away in a few moments. sorry. It goes away after a little bit. Again, it's gonna be the opposite of resilience. It's not gonna immediately come back. It's gonna take its time coming back, but it's still within that elastic region because it's able to go back to its original shape. So, strength of the tissue. So, strength is the magnitude of the force that's needed to break a material. So basically, we just need to get to the magnitude of stress of complete failure. The existential dread of memory foam. I'm sorry. What about the toughness of a tissue? The toughness is going to be the amount of energy per volume that a material can absorb before rupturing or failing. Toughness is measured by considering the total area under the stress strain curve. So remember, this is strength. We basically get to the point of complete failure. Too much stress on the body, cannot resist anymore. Toughness is going to be, hey, let's do some hacking math. What is the area of this? Huh? So, fragility? What? Fragile versus toughness. So how much energy a material will absorb before it fails or fracture? So we had our two different slides of toughness and strength. Understand that toughness is not necessarily equal to strength. We have something that's fragile, and then we have something that's tough right here. It can only go so much because of the toughness that it has. But this tough is really tough because, again, we can see that it has a bigger area. So let's read the little description really quick. The biomechanical profile of tissue's toughness has a complementary term called fragility, I guess. You have perhaps heard the term in reference to bone. Grandma's bones are fragile. No. So I have not watched this reference, but I know Ashley had showed me a shirt that he got from Simple Flips, and it's just this. Grandma's in the hospital again. But it's I never watched the original reference. It's just Bub? It is Bub. That's all I know. But yeah, you have perhaps heard this term in reference to bone. Grandma's bones are fragile. In terms of material properties, a tissue such as bone is fragile when the amount of stress strain measured by the area under the curve is small. The bone tissue seen here on the left is fragile in comparison to the right. For some reason, this looks like something you see as a submission in Jackbox. It is! It's from the t-shirt game. That t-shirt game is the I forgot what it's called. Aw, but you can submit it and you could be like, yeah, print this as a shirt. I love me Simple Flips. Oh my gosh, his latest video, I just watched it earlier today and it was very funny. Highly recommend. Wasn't that the 1-Up mushroom from Mario? Yeah, that's the reference. It's a Simple Flips shirt, and Simple Flips is very well known in the Mario community, whether it's the ROM hacks or my favorite content from him, which is gonna be the Super Mario Maker 2 stuff. Don't get me wrong, I like the ROM hacks, I just don't like it as his SMM2. Anyway, the graph below represents the stress-strain relationships of 4 different connective tissues. Which tissue undergoes the greatest amount of stress before failing? So this is gonna go with the most amount of strain before failing because A, it's longer, B, the area, C, I'm waiting. You watched the latest video? I did! I thought you said you watched it. I thought you watched it already. Unless he came out with a newer video. Hold on, I have to go look to see if Simple Flips has a new video. Hold on. I said, yo, what? I'm sorry. You'll like it. Oh, I'm sorry. I can watch it again. Sorry. We can watch Grand Pooh Bear or something. I don't know. It's too late now? Okay, I'll spoil it for you. He makes a summoning salt reference. What do you mean, ew? I'm sorry. I think you made it at the very beginning though, so you're not missing anything. Anyway, now that I'm done being a villain. Brittle versus ductile. What the heck is ductile? I assume it's the opposite of what do you call it, being brittle. But ductile is
Ductile.
ductile. Heck.
Ductile.
Is being able to what? Able to be drawn out of a thin wire. Easily led. Of metal. Okay, we'll go with the of metal. The brittle versus
Ductile.
ductile. So brittle's right here. Brittle, it'll fracture. Both of these are going to fracture, but if it's more brittle, you can go through a high level of stress, but once you go too high, bam, fracture. Ductile can last a little bit more longer. So this is not necessarily related to strength. So we just have to consider another mechanical property. So sometimes we can apply this to external applications such as orthotics, prosthetics, and other devices, and these can be considered brittle or ductile. Yeah, I thought it was ductile too. That's why I was like, oh, okay. Nope, Google says otherwise. So a brittle material is going to be one where there's little plastic deformity. There's little plastic deformity strain prior to failure, whereas a ductile material is one that demonstrates a larger amount of plastic deformation as a response to an external load before failing. Aging bones become more brittle, meaning that fractures are easier to happen in comparison to the bones of a younger child, which often normally just bend in the plastic formation with greater magnitudes. Or you'll need greater magnitudes for it to fracture, because normally if something does happen, you'll bend a bone, but you're not going to break it as a kid. But kids are kind of reckless, so who knows. Didn't break a bone, gang, so doesn't know. Elastin. So elastin is going to be the thing that's going to give tissue some of their elastic resilience. So elastin is the final extracellular component of connective tissue that's going to be important. Elastin is another important macromolecule that's going to provide elastic properties to tendons, ligaments, and other connective tissues. While collagen, for example, is still the main fibrillary component of the Achilles tendon, elastin is going to be present at a significant level. Ligaments generally contain more elastin than tendons, making them less stiff and just slightly weaker than tendons, which makes sense because again, ligaments are bone to bone while tendons are muscle to bone, and for me it just makes sense, like, okay, ligaments are not going to be as strong, but they won't make it less stiff. Again, we can draw back to the ACL, the anterior cruciate ligament, and the knee. This is stuff I was literally learning in engineering. Let's go! Let's go! The human body is a very interesting engineered kind of thing. I'm glad it's overlapping though. That's always super fun. I'm not gonna read this. As you age, your body just stops. And then the elastic properties, I'm not gonna read that either. Bam, we're done with this one. I feel so bad. It's like, Tippa, how are you gonna pass this if you just flat out don't read it? I'm like, this is just saying what's stiff and what's not stiff. So, boo. Anyway, I'm gonna take a little baby break because I'm going to, apparently the formal word is go to an idol meeting. Excuse me. I'm going to an idol meeting for the next few moments. I will be back. We will go over the rest of this and hopefully I can finish. Oh god, it's been almost 2 hours for 2 PowerPoints. This is only for 1 class. I'm gonna scream. Well, I'll be back, right? I'll be back. Wow, sounds cool, right? I know. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll let you know if the idol meeting was successful. Have fun. Thank you. BRB. Be right back. Rigged. Hi, I'm back. Hi, Marsha, by the way. Hi, Monch. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to study stream. Biomechanics. I'm back. Let's actually learn something that is applicable. Look, there's a foot here. So we're gonna learn something that's a little more applicable. I'm actually more excited for this because I feel like the formatting of this course is more like, oh, guess what? These beginning PowerPoints? Dry, boring, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, whoa, remember that you have tendons and ligaments? Like, yeah, that's what we were talking about. Now let's apply it. Yeah, let's go. So yeah, let's get to it, okay? So now, excuse me. Let's move on to part C. Tendons and ligament properties. So I am burping, I am hiccuping, my body is failing me. Sorry, hold on. So let's break it down. So yeah, so we have been talking about tendons. Yeah, so we have been talking about ligaments. But what are the functions? What do they do again? Huh? So tendons are going to serve as a muscle to bone connection. This is going to transfer tensile forces between muscle and bone, again tensile pull apart. We also have to provide energy storage and return, which we kind of talked about earlier with the resilience, and they're going to provide a dampening effect. While the ligaments, it's not going to be muscle to bone, it's going to be bone to bone. It's going to help augment the mechanical stability of some of the joints that you have. We actually have a lot on the shoulder, to be honest. And beyond that, provide a muscle force and joint geometry. It's also can prevent excessive or unwanted joint motions. Sorry. My supervisor's messaging me. Politely ignores. It's 9. I'm sleeping. I don't know. Hold on. And we're gonna prevent excessive or unwanted joint motion with ligaments. So if we didn't have this bone-to-bone connection, we'd basically be like all wibbly wobbly. So thankfully we're not as wibbly wobbly. We can kind of be a little bit, and hopefully later in another course I'll tell you how we can do like really cool things called manipulations, physical ones, not not mental ones. Not here. We don't support that. But yeah. So those are the two right here. And so now, oh no, the boring stuff, but it's okay. So skeletal ligament, tendon structure, and properties. So there's interconnected fibroblasts that are going to be surrounded by the matrix of dense bands of collagenous tissues, which are going to be our fibers. And there's basically a hierarchy matrix of that's organized. Oh my gosh, let me just read the slide. Hierarchical matrix organizations of bundle fibers aligned along the long axis of the tissue. So basically we have a certain order of how we're going to do this. So we have our cells, our Walters, our collagens, type 1 and type 2 collagen, elastin, the basic structural unit, which is going to be your collagen fiber. Here's some of the basic properties, and here's going to be the fiber orientation. The ligament's going to be in less order. The tendon is going to be, again, the hierarchy. So ligament, we know that the cells that are going to be within there is going to be fibroblasts, while in tendons it's going to be tenoblasts. Wow. Marshall says, Tips, do you see the Hollow Live collab with Among Us drop? I did! So I think it's super cute. I think it's a very cute collab idea, and I'm very happy that they have representation of like all our branches, ID, EN, and JP. But you know what's really funny? I didn't realize I was gonna be called to LM in like 25 minutes. So one of the things that I put, because I'm like, I've only streamed for 30 minutes, I want to stream longer, was Among Us. But Cubs chose, to study, which is perfectly fine because I need to study. As you see, it takes me a billion years just to get through one PowerPoint for one class. But I don't know what skin I get, or I don't know how the Among Us bundles work by chance. Like if I get the bundle, do I get all of them, or do I have to work to get pieces, or do I have to play the game like a battle pass? Like I'm actually not sure. Anyway. So for water content and ligaments, it's going to be 60 to 80%. Same in tendons. For collagen, it's going to be 25, while in tendons slightly higher. 90 to 95, 99 for 90 for ligament, 95 to 99 for tendon. We have our 10%. Did I hear ligma? Yeah, ligament. Hi, Baz again. You need to buy the cosmetic cube, and then you have to play Among Us like normal. Boo! Alright, I guess I can grind out on the Among Us Battle Pass. It's Hollow Live. Like, I would do the same thing if they did the same thing for like Fortnite or something. Not Fall Guys though. Anyway. Elastin, we're gonna have way more collagen and ligaments than in tendons. It's gonna be a little bit more scarce. Oh wait, Robo, you haven't seen it? Hold on. This is important news. I got you. No, it's like an actual like cosmetic. Hold on. Heck, why is this a link? Heck. Look. See, they have Amuna. They have. I'm blanking out on names. Ame, Gura. Picora? Okay, you? Mio? Yes, Mio! Thank you! I'm like, Mio? Why Krone? Babuki. Right. Alright, but yeah, they have all of them, so it's really exciting. But, that's why I was like, oh yeah, Among Us. But yeah. You're God's funniest clown, SG. What an honor. The pirate one looks like she has a big nose. Bring me back the big nose. What do you mean? I like the pirate one. Did you see her? Did you guys see her newest songs? It's actually really good. The lyrics in PVA will not show here. Her visor looks like a nose due to the eye patch. Oh, don't say that. Oh, I've seen it. I'm gonna. Like she's wearing glasses. Oh, leave her be. She can wear all her glasses all she wants. Like it? Animation. Mwah, the animation's so good though. And right now I just looked it up. She has 10 million likes. Mwah. Or likes, views. Mwah. Kiss. She deserves it. Anyway. Biomechanics. But yeah, that's something I look forward to, which is why I want to play Among Us. Actually, it's 9 o'clock right now. Man. Ah! Sorry, dies. Okay, sorry, hold on. I'm trying to time it out. Okay, there's 17 slides. Let's get through this. Let's go by fast. So I want to play Fortnite. I said that. I want to play Fortnite. So I gotta speed this up. Alright, ligaments are less ordered. They're elastic and viscosity. These are all the same. They're all the same. Whatever. Skeletal ligament versus tendon. Okay, they're not the same. So this is like this, but like this. So again, our tendon, we're gonna have the unit as the tenocytes, while the ligaments can be the fibroblasts. There's a hierarchy, but again, the tendons are more organized than the ligaments, right? Yeah. Ligaments are not as ordered. We're gonna have our hydrated proteins, which is the higher proteoglycans and the HCO content versus the tendon. This is gonna be vascularized. They're both gonna be vascularized. It's gonna just have different areas of vascularization. Ligaments gonna have lower collagen content, which makes sense. Not as squishy. Yeah. Spaghetti. Anyway, so most tendons are orientated with a complex fiber arrangement, while ligament fibers are arranged in parallel layers. So we see spaghetti. While this crisscross structure is going to tend to neutralize some of the inherent elasticity of, the collagen fibers, which is why ligaments are not as stretchy, or doesn't have as much collagen content in it as well. Stress strain curve again, yay! We're gonna skip it because we're speed running steady stream. We got it. We have the elastic, we have the plastic region, and we can use the ACL again to redo this. So we're actually let's actually break it down, because this one's nice because it has different regions. So we can at least go over that as a nice review of the past 2 PowerPoints. So for region 1 again, that's going to be, we're gonna have our toe region right here at the beginning. So the crimp thing, are you guys familiar with crimp? What crimp is? Let me grab a picture really quick. I'm like, you know how people can crimp their hair? Let me see. That's last for the sneeze, thank goodness. Maybe this is not like a good example of crimping. It's not like someone's hair is wavy, but they're like bending it in like a certain way. You crimped wires? Okay, cool, because I'm just like, how do I show crimping? Because there's one girl who looks like she just has like wavy hair, stylized of course, and this other girl looks like she has like the are you guys familiar with the Teeny Weeny, like early 2000s fashion where they had like the crimped hair? Oh my gosh, hold on, I have to look crimped hair emo. Like the little better looking stuff. Oh heck, it reminds me of that. Oh my goodness, don't date yourself, grandma, bro. I dated myself 500 years ago. If you don't have a vague idea what my age is, I'm sorry. if you didn't guess Forever 17, then you're a hacker. Anyway, so yeah, crimping. That's so seen, right? Oh my gosh. You know. Okay. Hear me out. I'm taking a small study break. You know how like the emo girls had like their hair like side, like they had like these bangs. hold on. Maybe these are like good. Whoever comes in here is gonna be so confused, and I'm gonna apologize profusely. You know how they have the bangs like this? I'm like, oh my gosh, what are these bangs? They're so cool. Not like the colorfulness of it. I mean, that is cool, but that's not what I was going for. I really like the style, and people are like, oh, these are called side swept bangs. And I remember posting on Gaia online. I'm like, apparently I didn't have the power of Google, but I remember posting like a question. I don't think I started a thread where I'm like, how do you do this and how do they get it so nice? And then that's when someone was like, oh yeah, they get like these scissors that help like feather it out, and it looks like that nice soup, and you have to cut it at an angle. And my mind was blown. I was like, oh, I'm gonna invest in hair cutting scissors. And you know, it's been a long time, but I still have those scissors to this very day. I think it's like one of the first few things I brought off like eBay when I became like conscious of the internet, you know? Anyway, no more. So yeah, the stress strain curve. Anyway, so we have our region 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1, crimp. That's why the whole reason why we brought that up. Crimp is going to be a low stiffness. The change in slope as the collagen fibers are going to straighten out. So instead of like that bent waviness, they're going to start straightening out. Ligaments are going to become more stiff as the fibers are more recruited. In region 2, let's see, regional linear region, the slope is going to equal the stiffness over the elastic modulus. Higher stiffness is basically what's going to happen. 3, less linear behavior and deformities are going to happen, and you might be in an area, maybe around here, of a permanent microfracture. 4, the ligament fails, so and in region 5, ligament may not be intact, and basically the fibers are going to slide up and down each other at low tensile loads, because gosh, I don't know how you can load something that's possibly not even there. Super scary stuff. Wow. Robo says you never know when they might come in handy. They're so handy. I still have my bangs, kind of. Well, I have my bangs here, but they get a little long, and part of me is like, should I grow them out? Huh? But I'm happy with my bang length. You see? Hey, hi, welcome. Hi, how are you? Welcome. I'm so sorry you had to come watch me study. Sorry, I don't have the self-discipline to do this by myself. I'm sleepy. How are you? Same, but I want to play Fortnite. So I have to speedrun studying. But I hope you get some restful sleep soon. I don't remember. Oh, I think you're like an hour behind me, right? I hope that you're able to sleep at a normal time, and that you get some well deserved rest. Yes. I'm Yasina. Oh, you're not. I'm sorry. Apparently, I don't know the borders of the ESC. Let's go. It's already 9, my dude. You can go to sleep now, or if you go to sleep at 10, you're a responsible adult. Or sorry, 10:30. Now you're good. I escaped Texas last month. Yes, I remember. Oh man, why does Texas have to be a heckle? I had so much fun when I went to Yeehaw last time. Big heck. But yeah, welcome to ESP. Go to sleep soon. Zee. I will put you to sleep with my beautiful lullaby. I will sound like a horse and go neigh. No, but seriously, I'm going to politely just go through this, and then hopefully that can also get you into comfy bedtime. Zee. But yeah, so stress strain curve, but with more pictures. So we have the physiological loading, we have the injury, and we just talked about the ligament failing. Microfractures are going to occur here, and you may have some pain. There's going to be slight mechanical weakening, but there's no clinical joint instability. This is not going to be the point where it's like, is something broken? Here's where it's going to break. You're going to have joint instability and pain because you're not having that ligament work the way you want it to work. Biochemical composition. So this is just talking about the composition of our bones and the percentage. So most of it, of course, is going to be water. A good portion of our whole entire body is made out of water. We have type 1 collagen. We have other. Wow, nice. Elastin, type 3 collagen, and proteoglycans, which again we were talking about is the hydrated macromolecules. Yeah. Oh, it says ACL injuries. Yes, they keep using ACL. Sorry, my foot cramped. They keep using ACL injuries. So yeah, ACL, anterior cruciate ligament. Nothing too specific other than like, hey, that's a really classic example of what tears in a lot of people, especially I know like a lot of athletic people or people who just play sports in general, just any like sudden twisting and it's just gone. See, it's back here again, but in red. Here are some of the other collateral ligaments that we have in our body. As we see the fibular ligament right here, tibiocollateral ligament, and anterior cruciate ligament, and how they both respond to stress and strain, and how you see, if you see the sudden, that's kind of weird breaks, unfortunately. Tendon properties and functions. So the properties of a tendon is going to exhibit high mechanical strength, good flexibility, and optimal level of elasticity, and it's going to demonstrate that viscoelasticity, which again, that's going to be that whole like examples of the viscosity that we're talking about. That's both, it exhibits properties of both fluid and solid, and it's going to have again that stress relaxation and that creep. So again, the lengthening and the constant load and how that can change. So also we have to understand the tendon's function. So our first function for the tendon is that it's going to transmit forces generated by muscle to bone. And that makes sense because again, we've said multiple times, tendon is muscle to bone. So for it to transmit forces in that way, it just makes sense. So it's also going to act as a buffer by absorbing internal forces to limit muscle damage. So yes, I was going to use an example, but I'm like, no, we're speedrunning this. So if we were to take a tendon apart and kind of section it out, it would look something like this. It's really complex and a very highly ordered structure, as you see, as we have our collagen fiber, primary fiber, which is going to be the subfascicle, fascicle. All this together is going to be the endotendon. Then we have the tertiary fiber bundle, so bundle. Inside this, that's going to just be one part of the entire tendon right here. So yes, collagen orientation and tendon. So we have different types of collagen arrangements. So we have our parallel, two lines, they never touch. Crossing, they touch. Complex crossing, it's a little, yeah. Plated or braiding, so this is actually really fancy, reminds me of the Nordic a little bit. And spiraling, dollar bill, yo. No, I'm just kidding. This is spiraling, as you see, kind of circling around and kind of continuing in that pattern. Complex structures provide ability of tendons to buffer longitudinal, transverse, and rotational forces, and this is going to occur because of the orientation. So mechanical properties of a tendon are going to be largely dependent on the collagen fiber size and the orientation and the relaxed fibers, and to see if there's any crimps or waviness to them, to see how they're going to perform during some kind of action. Clinical application of tendon and ligament material properties. Heck. No, I can't read this right now. Biological, mechanical transduction. What is this word? Process by which human body converts mechanical loading into cellular response occurs through the lifespan and connective tissue. So if we're going to go in the lifespan, we're going to start from the left to the right. Our left is going to be mechanical triggers. So pretty much, again, this biological mechanical transduction is going to be the process of how the human body converts mechanical loading into cellular response. So mechanical triggers can be the tension, it can be the shearing, or the compression on the cellular structure. From there, that deformity is going to occur because there's some kind of force pushing, compressing it, pulling it, or shearing it. That deformation is going to occur, and that kind of communication is going to occur within the tissue cell and signaling of like, hey, there's something wrong. Mecha diffusion? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, thank you. thank you. And then from there, that signaling is going to start metabolic cellular response, and from there, that's going to determine how the connective tissue will respond to the external load that's going to be applied to them. So apparently a good example of this is the prolonged effects of exercise training on muscle, and how this can occur and how this is going to increase. The deformation occurs, the signaling apparently is going to be like the proteins and such to increase it, and then the metabolic or cellular response is going to be the making the muscle larger and stronger. Interesting. Whoa, this is cool. Tendons and ligament cellular structures thus respond to a mechanical stimuli similar to muscles. Tendons and ligaments can show increased size and strength related to the synthesis of new collagen produced as a response to external loads placed on them. That was really fast. But basically, tendons and ligaments can also respond and increase in size and strength if there's new collagen to help do that, if there's an external load or force placed on them. Repeated and prolonged tensile and compressive forces tugging the store on the cell nucleus, cell membrane, cytoskeleton, stimulating DNA synthesis, of new collagen molecules. Apparently there's an animation. I could use my imagination and see, okay, arrows go in, arrows go down. A bodybuilder's muscles bellies are not only enlarged as a result of heavy exercise activities transduced into cells of muscles, but there's also typically an enlargement of tendon mass concurrently as a result of the same heavy exercise activity. Huh? These changes in tendons are certainly a proactive mechanism so that the tissue can increasingly withstand a larger and larger external force. So let's read here. Tensile loads on tendon, shear and tensile forces. Yeah. Compressive. And this is just how it's changing. Really, I think I would just sum up this slide of just like, hey, the cellular structure, this is how do you call it? Sorry, something popped up. It's the communication and the metabolic cellular response, and it's going back again to that bodybuilder response where the communication is going to be like, hey, we need more, we're going to build more protein and send more of this and do all that, and the compression and shearing is going to affect the actual, again, cell structures such as the nucleus and cell membrane, and in response this is going to enlarge not only because, hey, you're just doing heavy exercises, but because of the cell activity that's occurring onto there that's going to help increase or encourage the enlargement of this tendon and these muscles to grow bigger. And so next time this happens, your body's like, oh shoot, I know what to do. And so that's why it's going to practice withstanding larger and larger external loads or forces. Bam! Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No, that wasn't easy. I had to break it down. So basically the takeaway message is that we need a proper prescription of physical loads. So yes, we kind of saw loads as scary because it's like, oh no, but I can like tear or rip an ankle or whatever. Oh, you can't rip an ankle, but you know, when people get ankle sprains, it's like, oh no. So not all loads are bad. Loads that we do can be even just exercise, and that could be our tensile, shear, compression forces. So we just need to make sure that we're stretching within reasonable parameters, doing within our exercise parameters and our weight bearing parameters. Sometimes people can come up to you, maybe they recently had surgery and there's really only so much weight they can handle, so you wouldn't want to give them, like, I don't know, let's say they had a shoulder surgery, maybe like a rotator cuff. I think like the max people normally do after a while is like, hey, can you hold a gallon of milk? Which I think someone's like, that's the equivalent of 5 pounds. I'm like, what? I guess gallons of milk can get kind of heavy. Exercise parameters, making sure it's just appropriate, you know. If someone's doing something for their shoulder, you probably wouldn't want to do toe exercises. I mean, you can, I'm sure it'll help them in some way, but it's not really direct to the problem. And stretching and knowing like when is appropriate, how much, how long, and yeah, kind of like stretching out your hamstrings. You know, if you stand on an incline board, I think like the normal parameters for stretching is like, oh, do 3 of them and hold for like 30 seconds. After your first set of, you know, of doing 30 seconds, you know, step off, relax, and get back on it. Let's go. And then it's basically the same thing. So basically, if you do all these things and you do it properly, the proper prescription, pretty much you can promote connective tissue repair and health when the loads are appropriate. If you do too much, you'll be a failure, and that's when you end up here. You can have under or overloading of connective tissue, which is going to hinder the repair and health of your patient and individual. So that's why it's really important to know the proper parameters so you can encourage and promote and protect whoever you're taking care of, your clients, your patients, your whoever's health. Thank you for coming for my tip talk. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. A proper prescription of physical load is the fanciest way I've heard someone say exercise. Yeah, we're not getting a doctor's degree just to say exercise. We need to make sure that we're giving the proper prescription of physical load to the subscapularis muscles, the infraspinatus muscle. I'm gonna stop BSing and stop saying the wrong muscles. Bachi. Man, not that studying's bad. I think biomechanics. I think the issue with biomechanics for me personally is just how do you say it? I want to go over it and put stuff in like my own terms, but it's really overwhelming the first time around, and I think having exposure like this is just more beneficial because I can read it out and just be like, okay, now I really have to be on the spot. How do I explain this? Because I'm not getting it all the way, you know? But yeah. Pachi. Thank you for the pachi. I appreciate y'all. Oh my goodness. Let's see. So I'm gonna harass a few cubs to see if they want to play Fortnite with me. I'm down the clown. So you're more than welcome to hang out. I'll try to be streaming it, even if it's for like an hour. I'd be really happy. I have Twitter right now, and I have Twitter right now. I've had Twitter for a while. But the next time I'm streaming, I think it's Thursday. I think tomorrow I gave myself a break because I have like a school thing I have to do. So let me double check the time I put for that. I don't remember what time. 4 p.m. Yeah, Thursday for 4 p.m. I have Yakuza. I think I'm off that day, but I think I'm spending the majority of trying to finish up assignments and all that. So please forgive me. Teehee. So yeah, I'll see you cubs on Thursday for Yakuza at 4 p.m. EST. I just got done grinding for Sonic Speed Simulator. You're absolutely fine and valid. Do not hecking worry. Alright, so with that... Oh. So with that, let's see who we can raid. Let's see who we can wave. Let's see who we can wave. Let's see who we can wave. Sync otter, cute. There's someone doing some art. Da. Oh, there's someone playing Hyper Demon. Simple flips. I really don't know if I can raid into him. Will it let me? Oh no. No. I can't do that. I thought he would be like that person who's like, I don't accept raids from random people. Oh, I couldn't do that. Then I just come at him and like, hey, what were you up to? Or he just won't acknowledge me. I think it will, but I swear he only allowed me. Just yeah, I've watched his videos plenty enough times to see that I've never seen him get a raid. You know? I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it. I'll just read someone to me. Maybe he doesn't have notifications. Probably not. And it's gonna be like, you were studying, you nerd. I could have been playing like a Mario game or something. Yeah. We'll just rate someone who is definitely like what do you call it? Alive and well. There's actually a lot of people today. I'm just trying to look for one more. One more. Sounds like a good idea. Okay, dice. Sorry, I didn't mean to like silence myself. There's someone playing this game called Gloomwood. This person says they're doing art, but they're looking at poop postings. This person is doing live 2D. This person is supposed to be playing Hyper Demon, but they're now looking at tofu rice from scratch recipes. And there's one playing Valorant. It is what it is. You know, Rena actually is someone, a mutual that I actually met a few, a few months ago. I didn't realize she had her model and everything. She just started streaming like an hour and a half ago. And I know it's kind of like, heck, I don't play Valorant, but hey, we get to learn from the best, which is someone who's been playing it way longer than I am. So we'll get to do that. So many choices, I know, and it's really rare for me to just be like, actually, Cubs, I know who to rate. But she's actually a mutual that I got to talk to a little bit, and I kind of lost connection because it was right before me going to Yeehaw Land. But turns out she was, I'm gonna dox her. Turns out she was familiar with Yeehaw Land, and I was like, whoa, no way! And then I went on vacation, and then I was a bad person and never communicated again. Thanks for the tip. Make sure you catch up on all that glug glug glug, or the water. Sorry, definitely missed a sentence in there. Yes, I will. I'm gonna do the chug jug with my homies in Fortnite. I'm gonna make sure I drink all this. I have to go to bed soon too. I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night crying like, Sunny, why did you tell me to catch up? Anyway, Cubs, I'll see you Thursday at 4 p.m. and if I don't get to see you then heck, I'll get to see you next time. I have school this weekend, so I definitely won't be able to do anything afterwards. Maybe there'll be a gorilla stream on Friday, but it just really depends on that convention thing I still have to do, and then also something. Schoolwork. If I haven't finished all my schoolwork, then you hacking that, I'm taking Friday to do that too. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream. I got scared. I'm sorry. I think I hit something under my desk, but I got really scared. I'm sorry. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.